Today on the deep dive, we're tackling a really unique document, Authentic Shaolin Heritage Training Methods of 72 Arts of Shaolin.
Right. You sent this over, and well, it's quite the collection. An absolute treasure trove, really.
It is, and we want to, delve into some of the most maybe surprising and definitely insightful training methods in there.
Absolutely, because it's so much more than just like a list of exercises, isn't it?
Exactly. It covers this huge range, combat stuff, weapons, sure, but also this deep focus on internal power, external strength. It feels really complete.
It does. And knowing where it comes from adds another layer. The author, Jin Jing Zhong, quite a name.
Huh, yeah.
He came from a family deep into martial arts, lived
Okay.
and breathed it.
Right.
And this book, compiled back in 1934,
Right.
it draws on these ancient manuscripts, plus his own, extensive training.
Yeah.
You even have the names of the compilers, Jin Xiaotian, Jin Jing Zhong, Jin Zhuangfei. Shows real dedication.
Totally. So our goal here isn't just to list things off. We want to get at the core ideas, the philosophy, the practice behind these 72 arts.
Find those unique perspectives on, well, physical discipline, but mental discipline too, right?
Exactly. That mental side seems crucial. Okay, so where do we start? What's the foundational idea here?
Well, what hits you straight away is how holistic it all is.
Mhm.
It keeps coming back to breath, QI, and blood, XUE,
QI and XUE.
and how they connect to the internal organs. It's all one system, not separate bits.
Right, not just biceps or abs in isolation. So QI is like life force.
Pretty much. The text basically says QI determines life and death,
Mm.
and XUE is the essence from, food and water.
The fuel, maybe?
Right.
QI is the energy, XUE is the fuel.
That's a decent way to think about it, yeah.
Yeah.
And they have this concept, the three heaters, Sanjay Yao Niao O, to explain how it all works internally.
3 heaters, not actual organs, though.
No, more like functional zones. The upper one deals with heart, lungs, circulating the QI and XUE.
Okay.
Middle one is digestion, spleen, stomach. And the lower one, that's kidneys, bladder fluids, waste.
So it's this whole internal map, this ecosystem they're working with.
Exactly. And they even mention these 6 hieroglyphs. Sounds a bit mysterious.
Yeah, what are those about?
It's quoted from a tutor, Chen Nian, saying practicing these 6, like, low-voiced sounds daily helps rear life.
Rear life, like prolonging it, staying healthy.
Yeah. Preserving health, preventing illness. It shows it wasn't just about fighting prowess.
Yeah.
Overall well-being mattered.
Makes sense. Now, the text also mentions age being important. You can't just pick this stuff up anytime.
No, definitely not. It's clear that age is a big factor, and the arts themselves vary a lot in difficulty.
Some take longer.
Much longer. Years, sometimes decades. And starting young is often key for real mastery.
Right. And before you even start throwing punches or, contemplating the moon, there are rules.
Oh, yes. The laws and rules of 72 arts. Very fundamental.
What kind of rules are we talking about?
Well, there are the 5 demands. These are about your character, virtue, morality, perseverance is a big one.
Okay.
No boasting, respect your teachers, basic good conduct, really.
And then there are bans and harms, things to avoid.
Exactly. 10 bans and 10 harms.
Yeah.
And they cover a lot of ground.
Like what? Give us a flavor.
Okay, so the bans warn against things like sexual desire, weakening the spirit, rage, messing up your QI, thinking too much, hurting the mind.
Thinking too much, really.
Yeah, excessive worry or obsession.
Mm.
Also sorrow, hurting the heart, wine impacting blood.
Wow, okay. And the harms.
Those are more direct physical impacts,
Yeah.
sort of. Laziness weakens muscles, rushing damages bones, smoking obviously bad for lungs, spicy food upsets the stomach, too much drinking hits the spleen.
So it's incredibly detailed. Your whole lifestyle matters. Diet, emotions, behavior.
Totally. It's a complete discipline.
Yeah.
Which leads into that whole internal versus external idea, yin and yang.
Right, the soft and the hard skills.
Yeah, and the stress you need both. You can't just be all external brute force.
Or all internal, presumably.
Exactly. Balance is key.
Mhm.
Neglecting one side can actually cause harm, according to the text. You need that internal focus, the QI, to really make the external stuff work properly.
And it all kicks off with something called the 4-part exercise. Is that like a warm-up?
Sort of, but more fundamental. It's the groundwork before you get into the specific arts. And the key word is gentleness.
Gentleness. Not what you might expect.
Right. Avoid forcing things, no heavy-hearted training, soft movements, stretches, preparing body and mind.
Okay, so you build this foundation physically and mentally. Then you get into the really intriguing stuff. Some of these training methods sound intense.
Well, they are. Let's look at some external hardening first. Diamond finger. Ye Jing Gang Fa.
Just the name sounds tough.
It is. 3 years, they say, to get this single finger incredibly strong.
3 years.
Yeah. Striking things, starting soft, leaving fingerprints, then making dents in wood.
And eventually breaking stone with one finger.
That's the claim. It's about extreme focus, channeling everything into one point. You can see how that idea applies beyond just fighting, you know.
For sure. Okay, what about twin lock? Shuangsu Gong.
That involves hitting forearms, fists, even fingers with a partner. Repeatedly.
Ouch, to toughen them up.
Exactly. To withstand weapon hits, even break an opponent's arm on contact. Again, at least 3 years of training. Turning soft into hard through sheer repetition.
Brutal logic, I guess. Okay, Iron Head. Tai Tu Gong. That sounds dangerous.
Yeah, it definitely has risks. The text is clear. Self-defense only, no aggression.
How do they train it?
Wrapping the head, then gradually increasing the force of impacts against things. It's linked to acrobatics, too, so it's not just about having a thick skull.
There's control involved, and
Yeah.
probably internal QI focus.
Has to be, yeah. Combining the external hardening with internal direction of energy.
Right. Okay, Iron Shirt. Tai Bu Shan. Heard of this one. How does this tradition approach it?
It's a mix. Wrapping the torso, lots of massage, sleeping on a hard bed,
Okay.
and then, yeah, striking the body, eventually with wooden and even iron hammers.
Seriously? Hammers.
That's what it says. But the goal is kind of paradoxical, to be soft inside, like cotton,
Soft.
but able to become hard as iron instantly by concentrating QI on impact.
Whoa. Soft and hard. That yin-yang thing again, right there in the body.
Exactly. Using internal energy to create external defense. What about iron knees? Tying joking.
Developing knee strikes, I assume?
Yeah. Rubbing, hitting with hands, then wooden hammers again, building powerful, resilient knee joints for close fighting.
Seems logical. And the famous palm of iron sand, Tai Jia Ziang.
Yep, mentioned as a hard external skill. Less detail here, but classically, that involves hitting bags of sand or iron shot, right?
Yeah, conditioning the hands, bones, skin.
Makes sense. Standard, but likely very rigorous conditioning.
Okay, that covers some of the hardcore external stuff, but then there's the internal development and unique skills section. This gets weird.
Huh. Maybe unconventional is a better word. Like, they actually list exercise for the tongue and exercises for the teeth.
Tongue exercises, what for?
The text doesn't elaborate much, but just including them shows how detailed they were. Conditioning everything maybe for subtle internal energy work we don't really know.
Okay, then there's the skill of light body. Jin Shen Shu. This sounds like pure fantasy, walking on grass without bending it.
The description is amazing, isn't it? Training involves carrying less weight over time, moving on narrower surfaces.
Like what?
Vat edges, paper on sand, a stick, even a rope.
A rope, like tightrope walking, but lighter.
Kinda. The goal, supposedly after 12 years minimum,
12 years.
is to be so light you don't leave tracks on grass or ripples on water. Think about the balance, the control, the mental discipline that would take.
Unbelievable. What about skill of death jumps? Qi and Zhang, Sashu, leaping tall buildings.
Maybe not buildings, but definitely high and far. Jumping over piles, increasing the height. It's about agility, speed, control. Eventually moving easily on walls, roofs, parkour, ancient style.
Huh. Right. Okay, contemplation of the moon. That sounds more meditative, part of Luohan Gong.
Yes, and it's for improving eyesight. Even seeing in total darkness.
How? By staring at the moon.
It starts there, then progresses to staring at a lantern, but with darker and darker shades put over it from further and further away.
So you're training your eyes to pick up fainter light.
Exactly. Methodical sensory training.
Yeah.
Pushing the limits of vision.
Fascinating. Okay, the method of drawing in YM, Yangrong. This sounds delicate.
It is. It's about using QI, meditation, breath, to draw the testicles up into the abdomen.
For protection?
Primarily, yes.
Yeah.
Though in internal arts, controlling that area is often linked to preserving vital energy, too.
Right. Okay, shifting gears. Method of hardness and softness. Using a paper bundle. How does hitting paper build power?
Seems counterintuitive, right?
Yeah.
But you strike this suspended paper bundle, combining the physical hit the yang with internal QI focus, the YN.
Okay.
You gradually increase the bundle's weight. Apparently, it develops surprising punching force. It really shows that principle of internal energy amplifying a seemingly soft action.
Mind over matter, almost. Then swimming. Swimming is one of the 72 arts.
It is. And they mentioned Cinnabar palm, ZHU, SHA Ziang, as a soft skill right before it.
Interesting connection.
Yeah. The swimming part details 8 techniques from a monk, Sing Lang. Things like pushing off apparently the hardest, treading water, diving, sinking.
So proper techniques, not just splashing about.
Right. And even a combat application called water arrow, using movement in water offensively.
Wow. Okay, raising a pot. Shang Guang. That sounds more straightforward, just lifting weight.
Pretty much. Lifting a pot, adding weight over time. Basic fundamental strength building for arms and shoulders.
And it leads to throwing stones.
Yeah, the progression mentioned is developing the strength to throw stones further and harder.
Makes sense. What about rubbing palms? Heap hands yang. Just rubbing hands together.
It starts simpler, rubbing bamboo sticks, then metal chopsticks. The goal is immense crushing power.
Crushing power from rubbing chopsticks.
The text claims mastery lets you crumble iron and stone just by rubbing them.
That's hard to picture. Okay, another incredible claim. Neither lances nor broadswords can wound. Kuang, Deo, D-A-U-R-U-F-A. Invulnerability.
It's described as a soft skill with outer power. And yeah, the claim is invulnerability to those weapons after at least 10 years.
10 years.
Combined with advanced agility training on poles. So maybe it's extreme toughness plus incredible dodging ability.
Perhaps. Okay, offensively, skill piercing through stones. Dian Shika Gong sounds lethal.
It's about focusing force into the fingertips, training by pressing into earth, then soft stone, then hard stone.
To deliver a devastating strike with just the fingers.
That's the idea. Concentrated power for maximum damage.
And skill pulling out a mountain. Bio Gong. They're not literally pulling mountains, are they?
No. It's about pulling firmly planted poles, first wood, then iron. Developing massive pulling strength and grip. Persistence is key.
Right. We had raising a pot, now ringing around a tree. Bio Gong, more raw strength.
Yep. Hugging a tree, trying to uproot it, then lifting heavy stones. Pure, immense upper body and arm power development.
And striking at water in a well. Da Jing Gong, punching water.
Yeah, punching the surface in the center of a well. Progress is measured by the sound of the splash. Louder means more projected force.
So, striking at a distance, maybe? Disrupting things without direct contact.
Could be. Projecting QI or force. Okay, a few more quick ones. Exercise iron bag. Tie-dye gong.
Let me guess. Hardening the scrotum.
You got it. To withstand impact, become like stone and iron.
Right. Skill of tortoise back. V-I Gong. Strengthening the back.
Exactly. The whole back. Starts with internal QI work, waist massage, then progresses to striking the back with a cane. Resilience and protecting organs.
Okay. Pulling out a nail.
Gojang, with just fingers.
Thumb and forefinger, yeah. Pulling nails from wood. Harder wood, wet nails. Incredible finger strength and dexterity.
Amazing. And we skipped over a few like striking with foot, arm of sun rays, skill of eagle wings.
Eagle wings. Dong is interesting. In hanging sandbags with arms and elbows.
Yeah.
Specific patterns to defend against weapons.
Defensive drills. And method that reveals the truth. JDI Dong involves tons of somersaults and falling practice. Not just acrobatics, but learning to land safely, harden the body against impact.
Learning how to fall. Crucial skill.
Then iron bull, Tai, Niu Gong, more extreme conditioning. Hammers again, eventually taking a heavy stone slab on the stomach while someone pounds it.
Just, wow. The sheer variety and intensity is staggering. It really brings us back to the philosophy behind all this, doesn't it?
It really does, because underlying all these sometimes brutal methods is this constant emphasis on perseverance. They call it constancy.
Sticking with it no matter how hard or how long it takes.
Exactly. And discipline, gradual progress, no shortcuts. It's a long game, requiring total dedication.
And it's clearly not just physical, is it? That mental, even spiritual side keeps coming up.
Absolutely. Calming the heart, accumulating QI, getting rid of distracting thoughts. These are presented as part of the training, not separate from it.
Inner peace and focus are tools for physical development.
Precisely. And remember those rules we talked about, the character stuff.
Yeah, the virtue, morality.
That's seen as essential for success. Your lifestyle, your ethics, they believed it directly impacted your training results. It's all integrated.
Which makes sense. And what about that mention of training the subconscious, using hidden psychic forces?
Yeah, that was in reference to one specific style, the Fist of Subconscious Mastership. It hints at levels beyond just conscious effort, tapping into deeper mental states or energies. It adds this layer of, well, mystery.
Definitely. But even with all this power, this almost superhuman potential, they still stress ethics, right?
Very much so. Use it for self-defense. Don't be arrogant. Don't start fights. Responsibility comes with the power.
What really strikes me looking back at all this is just the incredible detail and the methodical nature of it all. It's so much deeper than just exercise.
Yeah, for me, the big things are that holistic view, body, mind, spirit, all working together. The unbelievable commitment needed. And that constant blend of hard external work with soft internal cultivation, yin and yang in practice.
You really get a sense of how deep these traditions run, and it makes you appreciate the potential for human strength, resilience,
Yeah.
in ways we maybe don't think about much now.
Which leads to a thought, doesn't it? When
Yeah.
you look at these ancient methods, so holistic, so patient, how could our modern approach to training, to self-improvement, maybe learn something from that, be enriched by it?
That's a really interesting question to leave people with. Food for thought. Thank you for walking us through this. It's been eye-opening.
It's fascinating material, a real glimpse into another world.
And thanks to our listener for sending it in. Definitely keep exploring these ideas. There's clearly a lot there.